I'm joined here today by Joel and Luke Smallbone, also known as for King and Country. Most people know you from your music, but you've recently released a film in the US titled Unsung Hero. It's opened number two over there, didn't it, in the opening weekend?
Sure did.
Perfect. And it's coming out in the UK on the 14th of June. So can you guys just tell us a bit about the film and your inspiration behind it?
Yeah, well, it's the definition of a passion project for both of us. Luke has told the story of our parents moving from Australia to the United States at almost every performance we've ever done as a band, as kind of a child advocacy, pay it forward moment. And so many folks had come up and said, well, you should write a book. And we often joke that we were homeschooled, so we don't read and write very well. So we'll do one better. We'll give you a movie. And that's what happened in 2020. Luke was talking to a producer friend and said, what do you think about turning this story into a motion picture? And from that day to this, almost every day, that's what we've been working on. It's a pretty radical story. You know, our dad was a
Mm-hmm.
concert promoter in Australia, lost what would be the equivalent of $500,000 down there. When mum and he decided to pack 16 suitcases, 6 kids. She was 6 months pregnant and moved continents. But for a job offer, got to Nashville, Tennessee, where we now are, and then lost that job. And that's really where the movie picks up, kind of us
Hmm.
banding together as a family, the local community rallying around, seeing miracles and music. It's the 90s, it's adventure, it's drama, it's all of it. And we're just really proud, man. We're really proud to bring it to the silver screen. We're proud to that it is, as you mentioned, the number two movie in theaters in
Hmm.
America last week, and awfully proud on June the 14th to bring it to your shores as well.
Brilliant. Fantastic. And so looking back on creating the film and looking back on your journey, did you learn anything new from that?
Oh, I think there's always things to learn when you go back. It's funny to think that in some cases people are like, well, you came to America, and your sister got going, Rebecca St.
Hmm.
James, and for Key Country, and now you're telling the story. Well, you forget that it's like 33 years ago,
Mm.
roughly, is when we came. So you're talking about quite a long time ago now, and I think that when you get a little older, there's certain ticks that your parents have that you're just like, why won't they just quit doing that? It's driving me crazy. And the reason why it annoys you oftentimes is obviously because there's some reason why they're doing this, or they're saying this, or they're reminding you of this that goes back so long ago, maybe even before you were born,
Mm.
that and there's a purpose and there's a reason behind it. And yet sometimes for us, we just think, why am I saying the same thing over and over again? Why are they being a little bit annoying or whatever it might be? And when you have the opportunity to tell a story like this, where we're going back 33 years ago and we're
Mm.
reliving it, that gives you a lot more compassion and empathy for your parents. And so you actually start going, when they say these things, you go, oh, now I actually know why, or they
Yeah.
act that way, or maybe there is a trauma response to certain things that happen, and you go, oh, well, now after realizing that he was a man who had 6 kids and a
Mm.
6 month, pregnant wife at the time, moving to America at about the age of 40, which is a similar age to both Joel and I.
Mm.
You go, oh, yep, that's probably going to make certain instances in your life a little bit more heightened. And so, like I said, I think it gives you a lot more compassion for your parents.
Definitely. And talking about your parents as well, Joel, you play your dad in the film, and you know your dad, and you have your feelings and your memories of your dad at that time. But was there a challenge in separating those feelings and memories and portraying him from his feelings and his point of view?
It was actually a great opportunity to flip the script, if you will, Richard. You know,
Mm.
we experienced this, Luke and I, as little boys. We were very young, and so instead of looking at a furnitureless living room, going, we have nothing, we saw it as a cricket pitch.
Mm.
Or instead of raking leaves and mowing lawns and being like, woe is me, we were like, we get to get out of school to do this. And so to flip the script now, as Luke mentioned, roughly his age and drop into his shoes, or more specifically,
Mm.
his actual jacket, because that was his jacket that I wore in the film from 30 years ago,
Oh, wow.
was, yes, a very expensive therapy session, but it was also incredibly eye-opening and empathy breeding for me and for us. Um, I think there's a real kind of before and after for Luke and me in bringing this story to life. And as you well said, I got to so viscerally and honestly, both in screenwriting and co-directing with Richard
Mm.
Ramsey, and then in playing Dad, got to experience the stress and the strain and the struggle and the fear and
Mm.
the compounding failure and the pride that he felt during that time. And one of the great compliments he gave us and gave me specifically when
Mm.
he watched it was that I'd externalized a lot of what he felt internally
Brilliant.
during that time. And I thought, well, I've done my job,
Yeah,
I think.
perfect. Luke, was it strange seeing your brother play your dad?
I think I was more afraid of it before it was taking place, because one of the things that, I think Joel probably felt the weight of a little bit was like, hey man, we don't need you to be a good actor. We need you to be great. And what was cool is in the process of it, I kind of started to forget that he was my brother. And that's the ultimate, I think, credit to Joel in his ability because that's what acting is. When you can lose yourself into the role, that's when you become great. And so I felt like Joel did a great job because I forgot that he was my brother at times,
Definitely.
which was what we needed.
Brilliant, brilliant. And how have you seen God use this film, and what do you hope audience will take away after watching this?
One of the principles, if you will, that Luke and I have always prescribed to as a band is that the closer we get to our own heart with creativity, the further it reaches out into your heart. And so we've sort of transferred that psychology to this movie. This is literally as close to home as you could
Mm.
possibly get. But make no mistake, this is so much more a film about mums and
Hmm.
even coming into Mother's Day. This is so much more a film about the family versus our family, about the human experience versus our experience. And so our sincere hope is that, yes, family will be highlighted. Yes, the 90s will be looked at. Yes, people will be entertained and moved. But more than that, that art has this way of bypassing the head and going straight to the heart, that we'll be able to have a little glance inside and go, oh, gee, do I need to risk more? Do I need to love my
Hmm.
wife in a different way, my kids in a
Hmm.
different way? Or do take that leap of faith into that
Yep.
endeavor that has terrified me. Um, those are some of the list, but the most of all, we hope that people see it as their own story and they can grab hold of it and make it their own.
Perfect, perfect. And finally, how can we pray for you guys?
Oh man, I mean, look, we're releasing this over there with you guys on June 14th, and we're about to head to New Zealand for a few shows
Hmm.
back there. Then we go to Australia for 7 shows back there. So obviously, prayers for good health that we could
Hmm.
make it through a lot of these different things. And then also, man, I hope that versus the film just being successful, I just hope that it really impacts a lot of people's hearts. I believe
Hmm.
in the power of family. I think the family is more potent and powerful today than it ever has been in the history of the world. And at the end of the day, Mother Teresa, I think she says it best: if you want to change the world, go home and love your family. My hope is that people will actually go, "Oh, I need to go home and love my family." And because it does take some action, especially for a lot of us men who become addicted to the work that we do. My hope is that this film will have some just significant ramifications for the family. And I've often said that if you want revival, it's usually going to start with your family. And if it starts in your family, then it'll go to your street. Once it goes to your street, it might go to your county, then to your city, then to your state, and who knows, maybe even in a nation. So it really does start in that capacity, and that's been our hope and dream for the film.
Great. Thank you so much, guys, and thanks for taking your time out. And yeah, we'll be praying that all goes well.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man.